So the theme actually came out of something very specific this month. Usually I track kind of the themes that are going on with clients. There's been a dearth of clients this month. It's been it's been an odd month. Instead, what I did was I spent most of my time with a sound healing class, which a couple of you that are here were in. And so I'll get personal with you. I have an interest in a lot of different cultural things. And because I believe that, being a person that comes from Western culture, where we're the total of all these experiences that we've only gotten secondhand, because many of us that were born here didn't get the experiences of the cultures from which our DNA and our blood comes from. And so we have a tendency to adopt philosophies, perspectives from many cultures, because we live in this big melting pot. And I'm a person that actually didn't just get influenced by, but actually wanted to know more about each of those cultures. And growing up in a metropolitan area, there was access to lots of different teachings, from temples to churches to meeting houses to societies, whatever. And sometimes that can wear you thin, because you, for me personally, you take in so much information from so many different places that you don't know where you end and where you begin. And I've been feeling that way lately. It almost as if all the knowledge that I have amassed has stretched me out. And now I feel like untangible. And so I was doing this meditation with a group, and Spirit jumped in and taught me that Spirit communicates through culture. And I hadn't really considered that before. I always think, well, Spirit would communicate in the same way that everybody communicates, through the senses. But that's just how we receive information. But Spirit communicates through culture. It's through the doing, and through the communication through different language, in which and our language with nature, that Spirit is communicating to us. So plants have culture, human beings have culture, animals have culture, everything has culture, and Spirit communicates through these cultures. And there was actually my tension or stress around the situation was just a indication that I wasn't being in a place of surrender. I was being in a place of tension. I was being in a place with feeling unsteady. And that was a choice that I was making. And I could make a different choice. And the choice was to surrender to it and just allow it to fill me up in the way that it has been, and not resist it. And that lesson shows up in a lot of different areas in our lives, actually, that the more that we fight against something, the more it persists against us. And in the meditation, it showed me a spider web. And in the spider web, I was trapped. And I could sit there and give up and wait for the spider to come get me. Or I could do everything I could to twist my way out of the web, which would actually just embed me deeper into the web. Like a Chinese finger puzzle, the more you pull against it, the more it ensnares you. And that was where surrender came in. Surrender, just surrender. So what does it mean to surrender? And how powerful is surrender when we just surrender to something? And it's not really something that you can talk about. It's more something that you have to experience, because surrender actually takes place in the vehicle, this vehicle. We hold everything in this vehicle, so it's the only place that we can surrender. We don't necessarily surrender by thinking surrender. We literally have to let go. There actually has to be some part of us that lets go, whether it's something we're holding in our muscles, something we're holding in our fascia or connective tissue, something that we're holding with our fists, that we literally have to make the decision that that's what's going to happen, and then allow the physical vehicle itself, the body, to work that out for us. And sometimes it only does so at its own pace. We don't determine how the body surrenders. We just set up the desire, the intention for the event to take place, and then the body decides when it's right for it to happen. So that was what influenced tonight's message, or tonight's journey. So I invite you all to follow the breath into the body. As you do so, feel yourself completely in your body. Feel yourself in the chair. Feel your feet on the floor. Make yourself fully present in your body. Feel how you're positioning yourself. The breath is like a magnifying glass. Breathe into the entire body and watch the breath go into every part of the body. Breathe down the arms into the hands. Breathe down the legs to the feet. Watch the breath go deeper and deeper. Imagine that you are breathing right down into the ground, right down into the earth. Each exhale, you might imagine, goes deeper and deeper down into the earth. Allow yourself to feel heavier, sinking down. Imagine that each and every breath that you breathe in, pulling up from the center of the earth. Breathe from the earth. Imagine that each breath is moving right down the spine. When you get to the tailbone, you notice the tailbone. Imagine that that tailbone is growing right down into the earth. You are made of the earth. You came from the earth. And you will one day return back into the earth. Part of the planet. Imagine the tailbone is growing all the way down to the center of the earth. And as you breathe back up, right up the tailbone. Feel yourself connected in. Notice that you are connected into this moment. And no other moment is quite as important as this moment. Because this is where you are right now. Allow yourself to be in this moment fully and completely. Should the mind try to go somewhere else, bring your breath and awareness back. allow the breath to slow, to deepen. And allow the earth to breathe back up into you, into your heart center. You might imagine that in the center of the earth is a fire of spirit. Just like in your heart is the fire of spirit. And the two are connected through your breath. I'd like to invite you to imagine that you are in a forest. It's early in the morning or late in the afternoon, I'm not sure which, but it has that time of day where the sun is coming through at an angle and you can see the rays of sunlight moving across the forest at a diagonal. It's a very quiet and peaceful forest. It is so still that you can see particles of dust floating in the rays of sunlight cutting across the forest. You can feel your feet on the forest floor. It's an old forest, and the forest floor is thick with debris, and it feels very soft on the bottoms of your feet. You are walking a very slow, methodical walk where each step is taken by dropping the heel first, rolling onto the ball of the foot, and then finally onto the toes. You walk slowly and methodically, heel to toe. There's nowhere to have to be right now. As you slowly walk, heel to toe, feeling the forest floor softly beneath your feet, and smelling the fragrant air of the trees, the sweetness of wildflowers, fresh air. And you listen deeply into the forest. It's very quiet. Occasional bird chirping. Occasional sound of a chipmunk far off in the distance. You can hear your footsteps, slow, methodical, heel to toe. And you find a path. This particular path has obviously been walked many times before. As you walk along this path, there's a brook. You can hear the sound of the water. you to walk heel to toe along the brook, feeling your feet on the forest floor, smelling the air, listening to the peacefulness. You notice up ahead on this path is a quaint little house. It may even be a house that's familiar to you in some way. You may not know exactly from where, but it has that appeal to it, like a place that you would like to own in the forest. As you get closer to the house, you notice that the front door is slightly ajar, and there's a mat in front of the door that says, "Welcome," and it has your name on it. How curious you are to find this mat with your name on it. And so you push the door open slightly. And the house is so attractive on the inside. It's almost as if you decorated it yourself. You notice the pictures on the walls and the type of furniture. And there's a very nice fragrance in the house. It's probably your favorite fragrance. There's something in the house that you need to know. You sense this at a very deep level within yourself. Something you need to know is in this house. There's a reason why you are here. You know it and you feel it, and you are compelled to move through the house to a particular location. You find yourself moving through rooms until you reach a door. You push the door open and notice that there is a staircase that descends downward. You begin to descend on the staircase, step by step, slowly, methodically, going down 10 more steps, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you arrive at the bottom floor. The first thing that you notice in this room is that there are cubby holes like a shelf unit, and on each shelf unit is a mason jar filled with something. You're curious as you walk closer. One mason jar in particular grabs your attention. You notice that on the back side is a label. You reach to the mason jar and turn it, and you are surprised to discover that written on the label of this mason jar is a barrier that you have in your life. A barrier that may seem new, or maybe something that you have struggled with your entire life. Just read the label and notice what it says. Then you notice what the mason jar is actually filled with. Something that pertains to this particular barrier. I'd also like for you to notice that this particular barrier lives in your body somewhere. As you track your body at this moment, where do you notice that this barrier has has been residing? Is it in your head, in a hip, in a shoulder, in a toe, in your heart? Where has this barrier been living in you? It may be easy to detect, and it may have been hiding. So you may need to sit with this for a moment as you scan the body from head to toe, looking for that one location, or maybe two locations where that barrier has been holding up. What I'm going to invite you to do is take the mason jar and unscrew the cap, and notice that behind you is a big empty bucket. Simply pour the contents of the mason jar out of your body and into that large bucket. Let go. Simply let go. And when you're done, I'd also like you to notice that there is a large shopping bag sitting there where you can place this mason jar in. When you're ready, bring your attention back to the cubby holes and notice that there is another mason jar in one of those holes, on one of those shelves. It also has a label. And as you turn the mason jar and read the label, you discover it is another barrier that you have had in your life has prevented you from being the person that you would like to be. And notice the contents of that mason jar. What is in that particular mason jar? And again, this barrier has been hiding out in your body somewhere. Scan your body, track this barrier to where it has been holding up in your body. Maybe in a knee, maybe in a hip, maybe in a tooth. Hiding any longer. When you're ready, I'm going to invite you to unscrew the cap on that mason jar. And empty the contents into that large bucket behind you. Empty your body out of that barrier. Let go. Just let go. And when you're ready, and that mason jar's contents are empty, place it into the shopping bag to the side. The process. I invite you to repeat it again as many times as is necessary get through those barriers, what other mason jars have labels on them? As you read the label and you see that barrier that you had in your life, where has it been hiding out and holding up in your body? Unscrew the cap to that mason jar and empty out your body into that large bucket. The contents that you no longer need, let go. Simply let go. Place the empty mason jar in the side, in that shopping bag. What other mason jars are there? What other labels read barriers that you have been trying to overcome? Let go. Let go. You might imagine just grabbing all the mason jars off of those shelves and just emptying their contents out. Letting your body be free. Be free. Let go. Let go of those labels. And place those empty jars into that shopping bag. When you're ready, I want to invite you to grab the shopping bag by the handles and take it back up the stairs. Back up the stairs and out the door where you find yourself at the kitchen. Take a good smell of the kitchen. Smell of all of your favorite foods, all combined into the perfect kitchen. I invite you to take the mason jars out of the shopping bag and notice that they're suddenly clean. How miraculous is that? Fantastic kitchen this is. You set them on the counter and you open the refrigerator door, and inside are more mason jars with the most beautiful colored liquids in them. Bright yellows and reds and purples, greens. And each of those mason jars have labels on them. Labels like joy, appreciation, bliss, love, compassion, sharing, caring, peace. And you take these mason jars out one by one and you start pouring their contents into those old mason jars. You're pouring these beautiful, high vibrational attributes into your own body. You're filling those spaces that were once occupied by barriers that you once carried around with you. And you start to fill those mason jars with bits of these other brightly colored, high vibrational, and highly tasty liquids. And you start to drink from them. You start to experiment with them. You might grab the red one that says joy, and you take a big drink of it, and it's like the most wonderful nectar you've ever tasted, and it flows down your body, and it fills one of those empty spaces that was once occupied by a barrier. You might see these beautifully colored liquids taking up residence in your body. And your own body is being filled with these higher vibrational, beautiful liquids of joy and appreciation and happiness and sharing and compassion and love and peace. And as you fill your body with these liquids, you start to feel these attributes in your body. You start to think about things that you really do appreciate. Like having healthy food to eat. Like having people to talk to. Like being able to share your experiences. Like being able to see the sun rise and set each day. By having a functioning body with muscles that actually work and carry out your commands from your mind. Your ability to walk and talk, think, decide, to choose. Having 10 fingers and 10 toes that give you the opportunity to walk places at will, to hold things, to hold people, to hold hands, to pet animals, to cook. To taste food that you love. To hear the birds singing in the morning. To love and have been loved. Fill your body with all these things. Let yourself feel the deep level of appreciation you have for your experience. Feel and experience yourself without barriers. What would that be like? Dream. Dream about where you will be without having these barriers holding you back. Bring yourself there fully and completely. See what you see, hear what you hear, and feel what you feel.